Good evening, all, and happy Father's Day. For we are at the fifth and second last round of the European Tour. It's MX5 at Donington. We are a figure of 10 this evening. So 10 cars, and we are in for two races. We're at the very beginning of qualifying. It's 15 minutes in total, 14 minutes until landing now. So let's see what everyone else can pull out of their hat. It was very close in terms of practice lap times. Well, at least for everyone except Tobias Thierolf, because he's flat second ahead of everyone else in practice. But let's see in a qualifying situation whether he can go faster or if he cracks under the pressure. So, we have a lot yet to see. Coming down to the final chicane. And Tobias Thierolf and not Photosysig, is that Photosysig in the black car? I can't remember. I should probably check. That'll probably be very important. But they both start their lap times. And we'll start seeing their first lap times on the board in a second. So purple sector 1, naturally for Tobias Thierolf, not because I imply he's quickest right now, we don't know that for sure, but he's the first car on track, he's rearing to go, so this is the first lap time we'll see on the board. (107.195), that's the second sector time of Tobias Thierolf first lap, and let's see what he can pull off now going into the first lap, and that is the first time. The first benchmark of this evening is 1 minute 18.8. Now, in practice, I saw Tobias Thierolf go 118.0 dead. So, like, he's definitely capable of more, but it's certainly doing him for the moment. Antonio Costa, 5.5 tenths behind in second place with Photosysiclu third. I was right about that car being Photos. And Andy Darnell being fourth. Everyone's still getting a little bit up to speed. And so am I, to be honest. I'm tripping all over my words here. But, yeah, think of it this way, 2-month hiatus, basically. We're back in it. So 11.5 minutes left to go. Tobias Thierolf is on an improved lap. He's 1/10 up in Sector 1. Photosysiclu chasing him down for the toe. Might help him a lot here. Especially important. This is qualifying. This is where it counts. But it doesn't seem to be close enough to make use of the toe. 0.025 seconds is the delta on Tobias Thierolf. He's not going to improve very much. I say that, but he improves like 3/10. So now that places 9/10 of a second between himself and Antonio Costa, and Photos in second and third. Here's Andy Darnell now, half a second off in the second sector, but now as he crosses the line, he goes second fastest ahead of Antonio Costa and Photos Isoglu. That's very good going. As Timo Reiter, Chris Wills, and Marcelo Rodriguez all set their lap times, and Jan Janšek, Rhino Berger, and Darylon Iceman are yet to set their lap times. We're a figure of 10 in terms of driver count, and we only have 7 total drivers on the leaderboard so far. So 10 minutes to go. We still have a few people to see lap times from. improving by 0.3 of a second. Can he carry it to the line and make it basically a repeat of what he did in practice? He's getting closer to that 118 dead that he achieved earlier. But there's Fotis Isoglu getting closer than ever. 0.5 of a second off of Tobias Thierhoff. And second. But Andy Darnell's on a personal best lap as well. He's now been pushed down to fourth as Rhino Berger goes third fastest. But let's see what Andy Darnell has to say to that. Stays fourth fastest. Exactly 0.1 of a second off of Rhino Berger in third. So that's on the same row there for the start if it were to persist. 0.3 off. Fotis Isoglu is off the leader. But he's still pushing. He believes that he's able to find those 0.5 elsewhere. Number 87 of Marcelo Rodriguez, a P8, looking to improve his lap time. 121.6, that's not enough to put him ahead of Chris Willems in P7. Stays 8th and last so far. We've yet to see a lap time from Jan Janšek, so looking forward to seeing that from him. And also from Durlan as well. Timo Reiter, meanwhile, going 6th. So with half of qualifying over, I should probably go over what the structure is for today's racing, timetable basically. We've got 2 races after qualifying. We've got one 20-minute feature race up first, and then we've got a 10-minute sprint race that offers bonus points to whoever can scramble up the highest in that limited time. We'll see a lot more action come the race, I'd imagine. As Antonio comes across for the second sector, he might be improving. He's only 0.2 off of Tobias Thierhoff's time. He's only 0.48 off of Tobias in the second sector. Maybe he can get right up the order, maybe ahead of Rhino Berger or even Fotis. Ahead of Fotis then, second on the grid, behind Tobias Thierhoff. Antonio's getting closer and closer to Tobias Thierhoff's time of 1 minute 18.287. Chris Willems is on a personal best, fastest lap. Let's see where this can put him. Down the start-finish straight. Will this be enough to get past Reiter, I think? Not quite. He definitely has it in him. He's only 0.3 away. Certainly wouldn't stop trying. Sorry. I don't mean to be negative. Tripping over my words again. Still getting up to speed myself. Five minutes to go, and Antonio... how did I miss that? But that literally just happened. Antonio Costa has gotten ahead of Tobias Thierhoff. I didn't know I had it in him. Really didn't know he had it in him. But that means we're going to have a fight for the lead this evening, I hope. Like, Tobias has got his fight in his hand for the first time in a good while. So all the cars are still going around. There's only time for roughly around 3 to 4 laps left before qualifying ends, so really pressure is on now while everyone's in the zone to try and make the best out of their cars. Antonio is on the purple first sector, has the draft from Marcelo Rodriguez up in front in the number 87. The question is, will he get out of the way? Antonio is slowing down. Must have gotten blocked by Marcello, unfortunately. Makes a very good distance between them. What has to be done in order to prime yourself for the next lap, because it's not about racing, it's not about position in qualifying, it's about setting the fastest lap time, and it's never faster to be fighting with the car than it is to just slow down before the next lap starts and just let the other car do its thing. You never want to be fighting cars in qualifying. That's a big no-no. Just hurts you. 3.5 minutes left. And we've yet to see a lap time from Janček still. He's running out of time here if he wants to put something in. And the same case for Durlan. Iceman. There's 10 drivers in this split, but there's only 8 times on the board. As Antonio Costa's taken a bit of a trip on the grass, letting everyone else pass. It's a very noble thing to do. I respect that. So ahead of him will be the likes of Rhino Burger and Durlan Iceman out on the track, trying to finalize their lap times. Antonio's doing a bit of almost trying to coax it into a power slide out of boredom, because he feels like he's invincible, basically. He's got pole over Tobias Tirolf, he can take the world by storm. But this is only half the battle, Steve. The real battle here is going to be during the race. Over 20 minutes, if he can keep the consistency up against someone like Tobias Tirolf, like absolute driving machine. Two minutes to go, and there's one more lap to be had during this time, and then that's it. Marcelo Rodriguez and Rhino Berger having a bit of a scrap there. Seem to be tripping over each other. Marcello is 3.3 seconds off of Antonio Costa's pole time, so you can only imagine how much of a moving roadblock he is towards everyone else. It is the joys of motoring, isn't it? And Janček, we've seen the first lap time from Janček now. He goes 5th quickest. But I don't think he's going to have enough time to set another lap time. I think he's left it a bit too late. Durlan goes 10th and last, behind Marcelo Rodriguez. So that's it for qualifying. Definitely a bit of a shocker. Antonio Costa ahead of Tobias Tirolf now. If only by a few thousandths of a second. Like, look at that, 5 thousandths of a second of a delta. And Andy Darnell 3rd, with Fotis 4th, Jan Janček in 5th, Rhino Berger 6th, Timo 7th, Chris Willems in 8th, Marcelo Rodriguez in 9th, and Durlan Iceman 10th and last. So we have a few solid groups of drivers now, pairs of 2 it seems. So we have a pretty interesting dynamic going on. So 3 minutes until landing, 3 minutes warm up, and I'll be back to you very shortly. Get a beverage of your choice, alcoholic or not, and maybe something salty. This ought to be a doozy. "30 seconds until landing, and we'll have our first races on our hands. 20 minutes for the first one. So now you can see Andy Darnell's taking a bit of a practice start there, trying to get a feel for the car and how it reacts. He's going to go for his patented rocket starts yet again this time, I'd imagine. And I'd love to see it. Because especially in a car like this, and he's in a prime position, if he reacts well enough, he can put himself in a very good position for the start of the race. Not long now, we've got a bit of a formation coming up. Standing still on the grid for a standing start. So we'll be starting any second now, but something I didn't really expect, right? Was a really big shocker was Antonio going as fast as he did again up against the likes of Tobias Virov. Like this is going to be one of the closest matchups he's had in a very long time, I'd imagine, if he can keep the consistency. And all right, so there's lights ahead of the drivers. MX5 at Donington, round 5 of the European Tour. Let's go racing. So Antonio Costa gets a very good start, and Andy Darnell's starting to get edging closer and closer to the rear bumper. Might try a move onto the inside. Thinks about it, doesn't quite get there, but Thierolf slides in behind Darnell. Momentarily goes wide onto the curve. So does Timo Reiter, trying to get alongside Chris Willems. Antonio Costa has to just go defensive against Andy Darnell. Got a bit of a rocket start, overtaking Tobias Thierolf there. we've singled out going into the next sector. Now into the sweeping right-hander. Too wide goes Andy Darnell and Tobias Thierhoff. And Tobias gets past him, but now he's got Janček to worry about and Fotis as well. So he's a bit of a pack dynamic starting to form here. Too wide going into the run. Up to the 3 wide going into the chicane. Janček got the short side of the stick there, but now it's up to Fotis and Chris Willems now to have a battle onto the start-finish straight, and Fotis seems to have run the drag race here. He's into 4th position. Timo Reiter and Chris Willems is still fighting for 5th, as Janček is still trying to recover from a bit of a dodgy start. He has the pace in him, he just needs to get himself into a good position in these next 18 minutes. Casting an eye on Chris Willems as he's trying to defend from Timo Reiter. So now we've got Fotis on the back of Andy Darnell. 2 drivers that are extremely familiar with each other across multiple series, I'd imagine. And very similar pace across most situations. Oh, that's very slow towards chicane. That's almost a collision with Janček. But Janček managed to keep the speed going. That was very slow going through that chicane from Fotis. But there was no accidents. Maybe a switch back will help things for Jan Janček. Going into the inside of the first corner doesn't quite make it, but he's still there. He's taken advantage of that slowness. And now he's bumper to bumper. 2/10 separate them from 4th and 5th position. So now at the beginning, midway through lap 3, we've got Antonio Costa in the lead with Tobias Thierhoff 1 second behind, with Andy Darnell 3 seconds back from the leader, with Fotis roughly on his tail, around a second back from him. Fotis and Janček are having a bumper-to-bumper battle, and Chris Willems and Timo Reiter are doing the same. And that's a big spin from Fotis. I have no idea what happened there, but between Fotis and Jan Janček, that was a big accident. That eliminates Fotis now from contention for the podium. Fotis is back on the road now, but he's lost a very, very big chunk of time. He's now 15 seconds back from the leader. All he can hope is push, and things will get better in the coming 15 minutes. That's a very big accident. I didn't see the incident quite fully, but I definitely think that'll be something to do with this, that the stewards will have a big of a say in come towards the end of the race. Let's have a bit of a check-in on Tobias Thierhoff from the number 69. Eight-tenths of a second back. He's going to be in slipstreaming distance now of Antonio Costa. But Antonio's been lapping very, very fast this evening, so it'd be a very big achievement if he can get any closer and maximize the use of the draft the best he can. The gap appears to be staying at least a second, like maximum, at least 7/10 of a second, but it's starting to expand up to 1 second exactly in the battle for first place. And you can see Andy Darnell in third in his own little bubble. He's sorted himself for a pretty nice racing position. He doesn't have to be bothered by anyone anytime soon. Well, I guess he would have had to trifle with Photosystiglu and Jan Janšek, but that quite literally sorted itself out. And now P4 goes to the likes of Chris Willems and Timo Reiter on the back of him, a second back from Chris Willems. So that fight is still going on. They're still fighting over that position. So once someone else's blunder here could be someone else's fortune, if you will. "13.5 minutes left to go, and your Antonio Costa is in first, with Tobias Tirov second, Andy Darnell third, Chris Willems fourth, Janšek fifth, Timo Reiter sixth, and Rodriguez in seventh, Photosystiglu eighth, and Derlin Iceman ninth. Photos appears to have a bit of a damaged car. Or, I mean, like, it'd be logical if it was damaged. I don't see any front aero damage on Photosystiglu's car at all. But I'd expect a very big chunk of steering damage from that collision from Photos. So here we have Tobias Tirolf getting closer than he was ever before to Antonio Costa. He might be able to go for a move here very shortly. Half a second behind, 4/10. Into the draft, he's getting a bit of a boost into the chicane. And here we have it, 4/10. 3/10. He's getting closer from the draft. Tobias is getting ever so closer, and we're only getting to half race distance, so Tobias is getting a very good helping of speed from the toe. But once Tobias gets past, then it's going to be Antonio Costa who gets that advantage, and Tobias is going to lose the toe. So we'll see what happens in that dynamic. Maybe Antonio will play it safe and just hang in the toe until the time is just right. And then before Tobias Tirolf can retaliate. And that's a bit of a off track from Chris Willems, unfortunately. Jan Janšek gets sails past effortlessly. But as I was saying, to do with the strategy of the top two, if Costa were to let Tobias pass, right? Tobias wouldn't have the slipstream anymore, and it would be all Costa, so it'd be far easier to keep up with Tobias. And then just wait until the opportune time towards the end of the race to overtake him and retake the first position. And by that point, there wouldn't be nothing he could do. There wouldn't be any time left to make a counter-attack. So if I was in Antonio Costa's position, and if I had the speed of Antonio Costa, I really don't. I'm like 3 seconds off his pace. I was practicing earlier. Like, that's probably what I'd try to do. Slipstream is a very big factor in these cars. If anything. Ten minutes left to go. We have hit the halfway mark. Lap 8. Timo Reiter and Chris Willems have been at it all around. Bit of contact, door-to-door action. And it looks like Chris Willems has lost out to Timo Reiter. Reiter has the advantage. And a very well done, very sorted pass indeed. Tobias is getting closer. He's within striking distance of Antonio Costa now. So a little bit of a checkup on Fotis Isoglu. He started from P4. And he's dropped back to 7th following that collision with Jan Janšek. But from effectively second to last place, he's fought back to 7th. And he's seemed to be catching up fairly quickly towards Timo Reiter, so he might be able to salvage some kind of a midfield finish out of this just yet. Still have a long way to go. Timo's getting a bit of a run on Chris Willems again. He seems to have lost out the position at some point. Must have missed it because my auto director seems to really like the battle with Tobias Tirov and Antonio Costa, even though it's not really going anywhere, despite them being 3/10 apart. But that's the situation. Timo is still half a second away from Chris Willems, and he's definitely in striking distance, so I'd definitely keep an eye on that demographic. So it makes you wonder, what lap numbers are going to be when Tobias Tirov finally gets close enough with that draft and tries to make a move for the lead. Gotta be any time now. I can see, due to the deltas, that Chris Willems and Timo Reiter and Fotis Isoglu are having a bit of a three-way right now. Willems seems to be on top going into the chicane, as Willems has a bit of an accident. He's in 7th right now. Bit of a plummet. I can't see exactly what's going on, but Reiter's now inherited 5th, and Fotis Isoglu has inherited 6th. Whatever happened to Chris? Unless my HUD is freaking out. No, he really is in 7th. I wonder what happened. I'll have to ask him about it if he's up to an interview later on. Unsolved mysteries, and that's Antonio Costa spawning out. No idea what happened there. Maybe it happens on his own accord, but Tobias Tirov is now unchallenged up in the lead, 6 seconds ahead, 7 seconds ahead, and Fotis Isoglu having a bit of a bang and bash with Timo Reiter, racing for position as he sorts it out on the inside. And now Fotis is going to be going up on the back of Janšek very, very shortly. So it'll be interesting to see how they get along after their most recent incident. As Janšek goes and exits the pits, I'm not sure whether or not he got a penalty or whether or not he was just fixing damage, or maybe it was a bit of courtesy towards Fotis. But either way, Fotis is back and forth now. That's a recovery driver if I've ever seen one. Four and a half minutes left to go. We have a 3-car train right now from 5th, 6th, and 5th, 4th. No, I'm so off the ball sometimes. Timo Reiter is having a battle with Fotis now. Is getting a lot closer, and Janczyk is also trying to come back at him, starting to build up a bit of speed towards the back. Three and a half minutes left to go. Not a lot of time left. I suppose we'll get a finish on lap 15. 2 laps left. So the racing here has quite settled down. Turned into a bit of hot lapping challenge now as of late. So we'll see if Timo can get any closer towards Fotis, or if anything happens to Thierolf, if he makes a mistake of his own, and if Antonio can get back at him. Two and a half minutes left to go. Timo's definitely still on him, and Janczyk's still determined to try get back to the front. Oh, okay, so not very much left now. 75 seconds to go, if my maths are correct, which they usually are not. So anyway, I'd like to break a bit of a silence here, so I should probably tell you guys about the bit of a story that happened this morning. It involved a bird, right? It involved a bird being trapped in my room for over the course of 3.5 hours. Like, it went from me trying to get him out frantically to us, all the way over to us towards the end, coming to an understanding and being very comfortable around each other, basically, me and the bird. Like, he was just flying around the ceiling, going constantly around in circles over the course of, like, well, the 3.5 hours. And you know what it took to lure him out? To finally lure him out of the open doorway, he watched me pass through several times and didn't leave anyway, despite showing very, very good big signs that he wanted to leave. Well, you know what it took? I lured him out with a potato crisp, and that sent him right out. So, anyway, shout out to the random sparrow bird thing that got trapped in my room for 3.5 hours. And the race is over. Well done to Tobias Thierolf, who's our race winner for today's feature. And don't go anywhere yet, because we have a bit of a shorter, bite-sized race after this with bonus points. So, Tobias Thierolf first, Antonio Costa second, and Andy Darnell third. Or else, my bad, this must be the last lap. Yes, this is the last lap. So now we get to watch Tobias Theroff cross the final chicane and effortlessly win at Donington here tonight for the feature as he flashes his headlights in absolute celebration. And now here comes the 33 of Antonio Costa in second. Had the speed to win it, but he just couldn't keep it up and made a mistake. And here we have Andy Darnell doing a bit of a whatever that was over the line. Well done to him in third. And Photosystically crosses the line in an excellent recovery drive in fourth. Wonderful spin as Timo Reiter shows him how it's done. The horseman himself. He's practiced this several times and he has easily done the best one. Shout out to Timo Reiter, the horseman himself. As Janšek crosses the line and then Marcelo Rodriguez. That was certainly something. Certainly something. So anyway, I'd imagine we have a small, 3-minute break before we get on to the next piece of action. But this next bit of action is going to be a little bit more bite-sized, I'd imagine. Also, before we go, the best lap was 1 minute 18.1 by Tobias Theroff. Costa wasn't necessarily faster, in terms of single lap pace, but he had the consistency over Tobias for a lot of that. So the only part that stopped him from winning was that one spin, that one accident. And I still don't know whether or not that was I did that by himself or whether or not Tobias hit him. Or I don't know what happened. I didn't really see that properly. But it definitely makes you think of what could have been this time around, you know? Okay, so we'll be back in a few moments after the intermission shortly ends. Alright then, boys. So, warm-up is nearly over. 40 seconds till ending. 30 seconds now because I'm stuttering as heck, but yes, whatever. There's a bit of just a bit of an update on from the Discord. So it was definitely a bit of an accident from Janček. Like he's apologized to Fotis, and it doesn't seem to be malicious at all. So like, hopefully, Fotis will take this into mind, and he doesn't get any bright ideas for any special moves going into the sprint. But anyway, don't sweat it. Everyone makes mistakes. Like everyone's got it once in a while. And also a bit of a let's also pay our respects to Rhino Burger, whose game crashed, I think, because I don't see him on the player list anymore. Rest in peace. But now we're on formation for a shorter 10-minute race that will award many more points. It's a reverse grid as well. No, it's not. Well, yes, it is. No, it's not. I'm having 1 in 2 chance of being correct here. I'm going to say yes, it is. No, it's not. It's all about that guesswork, folks. Fake it till you make it. But yes, it is. Okay, so it is a reverse grid. Deirdre Iceman, like last race's last place finisher, is up now first, with Chris Willems in second. Let's see what everyone else can do now for these 10 minutes. Willems onto the outside, getting a bit of a better start than Derla Iceman, but then on the inside there's Marcelo Rodriguez as Willems goes off the track and hits the 33 car of Antonio Costa very slightly, but doesn't seem to be hitting him. That's a very bad not the best start for Chris Willems. As Janček springing into action at first notice in third place. As Andy Darnell swipes to try block off Fotis. Or is it the other way around? Yes, he's blocking off Fotis there. Very wide into the corner. That cannot end well. That's a bit of a collision there. That's Fotis Isoglu again. And Andy as well. That's very unfortunate. There's not much time to fix this now as there was in the first race. There's not enough not much time left in the session now. There's only 8.5 minutes left of racing. We've just started, but it's only compared to the 20-minute race we had last day, or like, well, 20 minutes ago, essentially. Yeah, this is going to be half the time of the last race, so there's not enough time to be fighting for positions and playing the waiting game. It has to happen now, any moves that they want to make. But this does mean that we have a rather unusual pecking order right now. We have Janček in second, Derlan Iceman leading the charge, with Tobias Tirov cutting through the field, ahead of Rodriguez, Antonio Costa following through after Tobias Tirov for fourth, Rodriguez in fifth, Chris Willems in sixth, making a very big recovery drive as best he can, as Willems goes off the track, I think. Loses 2 positions, and maybe a third. Yes, he's ninth and last, unfortunately. Chris Willems has made a mistake. So now it's Reiter in 6th, Andy Darnell 7th, Fotis Isoglu 8th, and 33 of Antonio Costa very, very nearly setting Janček off the track, but he's regained control. He's managing to put up very well. He's going to try to defend the position on the inside line. Let's see what he does here. doesn't quite have the reach to block it off, but now he has to defend from Tobias Tirov. He wants a chance at the podium, and that's Marcelo Rodriguez going off the track there. Has to make a safe rejoin now. He's lost a lot of time. And now that means one car between Andy Darnell and Fotis now. It's a 4-car train for the lead. Antonio Costa second, Durlo and Iceman in first. Maybe this is what he was planning all along. He's going to take advantage of the reverse grid and put himself in the best possible position in order to try win. Just going to have to pick up the pace though. Antonio Costa, Janček, Thierolf, they're all catching up on him. And maybe Timo Reiter has come in to join the fun as well. There's a 5-car train for the lead now. Not much separating these guys at all. Antonio's going to try and go for it on the outside into the chicane. Someone has to yield. Antonio goes out of it, loses a lot of speed to Janček. That's a very, very big collision there. Hits Timo, and Janček is off the track. Not Fotis-Isoglu. Janček's off the track, and so is everyone else in the who's involved in the collision. So is Antonio. Timo Reiter managed to get off relatively unscathed. He's now in 4th position, but the other 2 drivers aren't faring so well. It was a very, very good round so far, until that happened for Janček and Antonio Costa, unfortunately. But that leaves Tirov and Andy Darnell to try fight it off for the final podium spots, and Timo Reiter eyeing up that 3rd place maybe. If anything goes wrong, he'll be there to sweep it all up and claim it as his own. 4-car train. On the outside, maybe Tobias Tirov overtakes. But maybe can we go 3 wide into the chicane? Maybe Timo's gonna go for it. It's now 2 wide between Timo and Andy Darnell. Red versus blue here. Timo goes out of it. Doesn't want to cause him any accidents. He saw what happened with Janček. He just doesn't want to reenact that in any capacity. But now side by side with Andy Darnell. Look at him go. He's streaking into 3rd. Look at him. Timo Reiter in 3rd place. Andy's not finished with him yet, though. He's gone to onto the curbs, trying to take a wider line. Try to take advantage of the tow that now has presented itself in the form of Timo Reiter's rear bumper. As Tirov goes into the lead, as Durlo and Iceman can no longer defend against the German driver. Timo and Andy are still at it and for the final podium spot. Into the sweeping right-hander now. Got a very nice straight here. Rounding to capitalize on. If he wants to try and get this podium back, he's going to have to do it now. He's got very little time left. 3 minutes, 20 seconds. And that's a very big overspeed, expertly done by Andy Darnell. Timo Reiter is now in 4th. But I have a feeling, a very strong feeling, that Timo isn't finished here yet. Now Timo has the draft. So now, remember what I was saying about waiting in the tow and trying to think about when to spring out in the opportune time. Like maybe Timo can do a bit of a prost and maybe think of the bigger picture. Maybe wait until the time is right to make this opportunity work with the draft. But now Andy has a bigger problem now. He's got Durlo and Iceman slowing him down in front of him. He's going to be tripping all over him if he doesn't get past him quick. It's onto the gravel trap as Durlon goes into the barrier. And that sorts it out of the picture now. Now there's podium spots for 2 of them if nothing goes wrong. but the glory is irresistible. Timo Reiter has second place right in front of him. They're too wide across the back straightaway. Three wide into the final chicane. Fotis watching Antonio Costa and Marcelo Rodriguez have a bit of an accident there. One of them had to go off the track. But Fotis seems to have the overspeed. He wasn't in any sort of accident, so he gets past Antonio with no bother whatsoever. One minute, 15 seconds left to go. As Janček is disqualified for whatever particular reason. Here we have Marcelo Rodriguez versus Antonio Costa for the sweeping right-hander. This is the battle for fourth place here. I say we'd get one more lap in now, with 40 seconds left, coming to the end of the track. And Timo Reiter and Andy Darnell are having such a fantastic battle. It's a dead heat. No one can seem to be faster than the other. They're almost perfectly matched. It's such a perfect scenario. But now I guess they have one lap to settle it. And Timo, in this occasion, has the toe. So he has that to his advantage. Let's see what he can pull off here. He's maintained such a close gap to each other all race long, and now it's time for him to pay off. It's time for him to make that final move. That will decide how the end of this race will go for him. Timo's just starting to lose out. There's a bit of an overspeed there. Not quite enough, though. I don't think it'll be enough. And what a conclusion to such a thrilling battle between Timo Reiter and Andy Darnell. Both on the podium this time around, with Tobias Thierolf, your winner. Antonio Costa with a very, very good recovery drive to fourth. Fotis 5th. Rodriguez 6th, Willems 7th, Derlin Iceman 8th, and Janček 9th and last, disqualified. For whichever reason, I have to figure out why. But that was absolutely thrilling. Like, I enjoyed that thoroughly. That last sprint race. I think the sprint for the IRX5s are definitely the way to go. What a race. I enjoyed that thoroughly. But now let's see what our fastest lap was for this race. And Thierolf didn't have to push very hard at all in order to maintain that lead. His fastest lap he wasn't very inclined to anyway, because Costa was out of the picture from the get-go. So his fastest lap was a 1 minute 18.7. And we've seen him, like I've seen him anyway, go 1:18.0. So like that's a bit of a telltale sign that he wasn't very inclined to push to his maximum, but he still had the pace to really push it and win it, both races anyway. So that was really thrilling. So I guess now we'll go on to some post-race interviews. I'll ask a few drivers who were in the race session what their thoughts were on a few incidents, or like a few moments, and what they think they could have done better or worse. So I guess we'll get started now. Andy, would you like to start off?
Hi, Michael.
Andy, between you and Timo, that last race was absolutely phenomenal. I was losing it.
Oh, it was great fun, and big respect to Timo as well. He kept it safe, and it was epically good fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, certainly in the first race, there was a bit of a gap between you and the two cars in front, Antonio and Tobias. Do you reckon that, like with a little bit more preparation, you could have caught them, or is that out of the question?
It's pretty much out of the question. Yeah, they were a second a lap quicker than me, but I did manage to get between them to give Antonio a bit of a gap for 5 minutes. But no, they're out of my league.
All right. So do you reckon in the second race between you and Timo, if Timo had a few more laps, do you reckon he could have got you?
Um, no, I think I had a couple of tenths on him, so I think I was okay. I just tried to keep it on the track.
Yeah, certainly. That's what it's all about with the
But he was
MX-5.
driving extremely well.
Yeah, it's like he's really, really getting a lot better. Like he's really improving, and I love to see it.
Yeah, and most importantly, he kept it respectful and gave space, and it was really really good.
Absolutely. So anyway, Andy, thank you so much for setting this up again. I know it's been a long time since I've commentated, but it's definitely a welcome back.
No, it's great to hear you back, and hopefully you'll be at the final round where we're at Silverstone with the FR90s, which is an epic combo. We're saving the best till last.
Yeah, definitely something I'd like to drive, but I'm sure it'll be a great show as well.
Well, you're more than welcome to drive, of course.
All right. Well, I'll see you then. Like, is there anything you'd like to mention for the end?
Um, I mean, so Dale on Iceman was halfway through the second race. He was still in the lead, and I was keeping my fingers crossed for him because he's not the quickest guy, but when he tries, he can be good.
Yeah, like I was saying there, that like maybe this was his plan. Like if he was going last intentionally, like I was scratching my head that he lasted that long. But
Yeah, no, it's good. Maybe he was aggressively blocking, but no, I mean, he lost it while I was next to him. And there was no contact between us, but the pressure got to him in the end, and he went off the track just by
yeah,
pressure.
definitely.
He's not used to being in that position.
Yeah, you could definitely tell. So anyway, look at Andy. I'll let you go. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thanks very much for commentating.
No worries. All right, see you then. So, I suppose next up, like Fotis, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, welcome back first of all.
Thank you.
I wasn't in the channel during the race because I wanted to focus, but I will watch after. I'm sure that you made an excellent job and thank you for your effort.
No worries. So, Fotis, like between you and Yanchik, I didn't quite see the accident very well. Like, could you give us a detailed account of what exactly happened there?
In my point of view, Jansi took me out on purpose because it was after a corner in the straight. You have nothing to. It was no point to come towards to me in a straight line. I was totally on the left. He have all the track to the right view, but he chose to. Actually, in that particular moment, I'm watching the replay, and he had no. He came towards me. I see his inputs. He intentionally turned into me. I don't know why, but yeah.
I guess we'll find out like later on. It's definitely a job for the stewards, but
Yeah. You asked me, I answered.
yeah,
If
fair
you
enough.
didn't ask me,
I
I
respect
wouldn't
that.
answer.
So,
But
in
it
terms,
was put a little more extra to the race. I tried to fight back to come back to my position, and in the end, I finished in the position I was before the accident. So for me, it was okay, except from the accident. And in the second race, uh, the same happened again, not intentionally in the first lap. Uh, they didn't give me, I think maybe it was my fault, but I didn't watch the replay yet. But I think I was on the side. I needed some room to work. They didn't give it to me. The result, it was a contact that make me spin and forced me to fight back again from last. But it was fun. It was okay.
I'm glad that like you were able to enjoy it anyway. And that's like
Yeah, it was good, except from the first racing scene because yeah, accidents happens, but I will leave it here. I will leave it here. I will say that it was two enjoyable races for me.
yeah, definitely. It was definitely a lot of fun to watch. Like you were very good there, Fotis. Like well done.
Thank you, Mike.
So, Fotis, is there anything else you'd like to mention before we move on?
Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed as we did, as you did. I hope the viewers to enjoy it, and I hope to see all the guys again in the final round. And I think it will be the best race of this championship.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Fotis.
Congratulations also, sorry, Maggie,
Yeah.
congratulations also to the podium winners in the both races. And actually in everyone that managed to finish also.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Fotis.
You're welcome, Maggie.
All right. So that was Fotis Igloo, and I guess last but not least, we have our race winner for both races, Tobias Thierolf.
Hey.
Hey there, Tobias. That was a very, very nice, very dominating performance from you there.
Not so much. I mean, basically Antonio just threw it away in both races, if you will. Like pace-wise, he could definitely give me a fight. That was pretty decent. Like I think he had a 18.1 or something, or 18.2 in the first race. That was quite tough to catch up to him. Like I was a bit behind because of Andy. Like he had like insane start in the beginning.
Yeah.
It took me a bit by surprise.
Never underestimate Andy and his floppy pedals. So, in any case, like, walk us through like your race start then. Like, how did you, like, what was the process of getting past Andy and like focusing the fight towards Antonio?
In the first race, let me quickly think. Not quite sure where I overtook him, but I think it was in the second lap, first corner. Like his line in the first corner is like suboptimal. You can cut way wider on the entrance. Like once the pit entrance is gone, you can basically go all the way to the left and then get like a good angle. And I think he just kept it a bit more to the right, so I could cut like on the inside and still maintain quite a lot of speed compared to him, and this way I could pass him. And then then it was basically just a race against the clock. Like Antonio put up incredible lap times, and just try to wait for him to make like a small mistake to get the distance was like 1.2 seconds when I passed Andy to Antonio, and once you get into the slipstream, basically you can just wait for for the gap to close. But I didn't expect him to crash out or something. That was unexpected.
Yeah, I was
Because
surprised too.
catching up is one thing, but overtaking is another. I'm not sure if I would be able to. If he would just keep on driving like low 18s in a consistent way, that's pretty hard to get by.
Yeah, and like in a way, that's what he did. Like he didn't exactly go like 1:18.1. Like the fastest he went, like fastest lap. Would you like to know is like 18.3.
18.3. Oh, 18.3. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
Okay. Maybe I was slightly off, but it's still like pretty good overall.
Yeah, like he definitely had really good consistency. So it's a very big shame to see that. Excellent, but definitely good for you.
Oh well,
So-
that depends. I mean, I wouldn't mind a fight. It'd be fun, especially in the second race. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Just like I think it was towards the final chicane.
Yeah, like it was just like 3 different cars tripping over each other.
Yeah.
Like, bit of a race.
Yeah, the lap earlier, like before the crash happened, there was like a 3 wide, I think, between Iceman, Jančík, and me. I was completely on the inside. I backed off because it never ends well. So
Yeah.
yeah, but you have only 10 minutes, so maybe they were just like really in a rush or something, and then mistakes happen.
That'd be understandable. But in any case, Tobias, very, very well done. Like,
Thank you.
is there anything else you'd like to say to the crowd at home?
Yeah, not really, but to some of the drivers, I was kind of surprised, like especially from Mr. Iceman. Like we had some bad occurrences throughout some of the championship, but he, at least when I was passing him, it was like everything was clean. And I was actually really surprised that he kept it in P1 in the second race for quite some time. Unfortunately, I think he then got a drive-through, which is something he should definitely work on. Like in a 10-minute race, 10 incident points. This is a ridiculously high number. He should never get a drive-through there.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, I was actually surprised, and also in the second race, Timo was pretty good. I was also really surprised when I got caught up to Darren Iceman, and I had to find a way past him. So he and Andy were right at my back. So that surprised me. Like Andy not so much, but the Timo was keeping up. That was pretty good.
Yeah. So, anyway, thank you so much, Tobias, for your time. And I hope to see you over at our final round at with the FR90s with the formulas.
Nice combination. I like the fast cars. That's good.
All right, so we'll see you there then. Have a good evening,
right.
Tobias.
You too. Bye.
So that was Tobias Tirolf, our race winner for both races. And that we're out of drivers now, so I guess this is the part where I say this is the part that I do a relatively unscripted outro dialogue thing that never goes according to plan. It's basically a trademark now, so here I go. So of course I've coming from a bit of a 2-month plus hiatus. Like I think I didn't do terribly in terms of commentary performance. I'd like to think I can do better, which I probably can. But in any case, this was an exciting race towards the end, especially the sprint. I'd love 2 sprints, like for the MX-5s. It really proves that you don't really need, as long as you've got, good 10 you don't need, massive grids of, 20 drivers plus to have a good race. You can have, small grids, compact grids of 10 or smaller, and still have a very entertaining race. So I think that's what today's race proved. But in any case, I think it's time to let you go. This is Michael Choose. And thank you for listening to me babbling on for around an hour and a half, almost. Or an hour. I don't know. I can't do maths, remember? See ya.